It doesn't start with a sharp pain, not with a broken bone or a dramatic collapse. No flashing lights, no emergency rooms. It starts with something smaller, quieter, so subtle you almost ignore it. One morning, you wake up, stretch your arms, then swing your legs over the side of the bed. But this time your legs hesitate, heavier than yesterday, not paralyzed, not aching, just unfamiliar. You place your palms on the mattress for a little help. You rise slowly, telling yourself, maybe I slept funny. Maybe the floor is colder today. Maybe it's nothing. But it happens again and again. Until one day you pause, not from weakness, but from a deep awareness. Something is unplugging. Your body no longer responds the way it used to, and yet you say nothing. You adapt. You shrink your steps. You avoid the stairs. You learn to live smaller. But deep down you wonder, is this just aging, or is something else taking my strength away? That something has a name: sarcopenia. A condition that affects millions of people. Over 60. Sarcopenia is the quiet thief of muscle. It doesn't scream for attention. It simply takes. By the time we turn 80, we can lose up to half the muscle mass we once had. And with it, we lose balance, stability, independence. One step at a time. But here's the part. No one tells you this isn't inevitable. There are people in their 70s and 80s who move like they're in their 40s. They climb stairs, carry groceries, dance, hike, even ride bikes. They're called Super-Agers. And they're not special. They're not born with better genes. They've just built better habits. In today's video, we'll uncover the 7 surprising daily habits that help older adults rebuild strength, reverse muscle loss, and stay fiercely independent well into their 90s. If you've been feeling this too, not weakness but a quiet question rising inside you, then stay with us. Subscribe to Senior Fit, where growing older doesn't mean growing smaller. It means growing wiser, stronger, and still moving forward. Let's begin. And the first habit, it may surprise you, because it's not about comfort, but stress. It sounds strange at first, the idea that stress can help us grow stronger. But for those who age with grace and grit, stress, when applied gently and wisely, isn't the enemy. It's the secret. It's called Hormetic Stress. The principle is simple. What doesn't kill you when delivered in small, controlled doses can actually make you stronger. And for your muscles, this kind of stress isn't only beneficial, it's essential. Scientists at the Buck Institute for Research on Aging have found that short-term physical stress activates a special defense system in our cells. This system improves how your muscles grow, repair, and stay strong, even into your 80s. Let's explore 3 kinds of hormetic stress that Super-Agers use every day to stay youthful, upright, and energized. 1. Temperature shocks, cold and heat therapy. Every morning, some Super-Agers do something that feels almost crazy. They end their shower with a burst of cold water. Just 30 to 60 seconds. It's not comfortable, but the result. That short burst of cold activates brown fat, stimulates mitochondria, the energy factories of your cells, and increases adiponectin, a hormone that protects muscle tissue. Others prefer heat. In Finland, researchers discovered that people who used a sauna 4 to 7 times a week had 40% less muscle loss over a decade than those who never used one. Because heat exposure triggers heat shock proteins molecules that help repair and preserve muscle. 2. Time-restricted eating, giving your body a break. We've been told for years to eat 3 big meals, but Super-Agers know the timing matters. By eating within an 8 to 10 hour window and fasting for the rest, they activate something called autophagy, a natural cleanup crew inside your cells. Autophagy removes damaged parts and makes your muscle cells more efficient. In a study from the Salk Institute, older adults who used time-restricted eating saw 10% improvement in muscle mitochondrial function in just 12 weeks. And they didn't even change what they ate, only when. 3. Overcoming isometrics, push without moving. This is one of the most overlooked muscle-building secrets, and you don't even need weights. It's called overcoming isometric contraction when you push or pull against something that doesn't move, like pressing your palms against a door frame or pushing into a wall with full force for 10 seconds. These contractions send powerful signals to your muscles without stressing your joints. Super-Agers do this a few times a day. It looks simple, but the muscle-preserving effect is real. Why it works: recovery plus consistency. Hormetic Stress only works because it's balanced by recovery. It's never about exhausting yourself. It's about applying the right stress for a short time, then letting your body rebuild. Done regularly, these habits activate longevity genes like FOXO and Lyrin that keep muscles youthful and functional. So if you're wondering where to begin, you don't need a gym. You need 30 seconds of courage in the shower, or 10 seconds of pressure against a wall. That's how Super-Agers begin their day. But building muscle isn't just about challenge. It's also about fuel. And when it comes to fueling your strength, timing is everything. Most of us grow up hearing one message: eat enough protein. But as we get older, there's a second part. No one tells us, eat it at the right time. Because after age 60, your body doesn't respond to protein the way it used to. This change is called anabolic resistance, a slower, weaker ability to build muscle from food. And the result: even if you eat enough protein, if you eat it the wrong way, your muscles might not absorb it, and strength slowly slips away. The protein trap most seniors fall into. Imagine this. You have a light breakfast, toast and coffee, a small lunch, maybe a sandwich or soup, and then finally a big dinner with all your protein packed into one meal. Sound familiar? This is how most older adults eat, but it's backwards. Muscles need a steady supply of amino acids, not a feast at the end of the day. In fact, researchers at the University of Texas found that people who distributed their protein evenly across all meals built 25% more muscle than those who ate the same amount, but all at once. The secret: the 3-meal rule. Here's what Super-Agers do differently. They aim for 25 to 30 grams of high-quality protein in each main meal: breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That means breakfast isn't toast, it's power. 2 eggs plus Greek yogurt, a protein smoothie with berries and nut butter, oatmeal with chia seeds and protein powder. Lunch isn't just light, it's loaded. Grilled chicken or tofu, lentil soup with whole grain bread, tuna salad with chickpeas and olive oil. Dinner rounds it off, not spikes it. This rhythm creates multiple protein windows where your muscles can grow, repair, and stay strong. Real story: Eleanor's transformation. Eleanor, 73, used to eat just one real meal a day. Her energy was low and her legs felt weak climbing stairs. Her doctor didn't prescribe medicine. He asked about her breakfast. When she shifted to 3 protein-powered meals, her balance improved. She walked longer without stopping. And her grandson noticed, "Grandma, you don't need the railing anymore." Sometimes the strongest medicine is a scrambled egg before 9 a.m. But there's one more ingredient, one vitamin that activates muscle growth at the genetic level, and yet over 80% of seniors don't get enough of it. And without it, even the perfect meal can go to waste. Let's talk about the vitamin your muscles are silently begging for, and why it's missing from so many lives after 60. It's easy to ignore, because you can't feel it. You don't see it in the mirror. But every day, this deficiency quietly eats away at your strength. It's not calcium, it's not iron, it's vitamin D, the muscle vitamin. For years, people thought vitamin D was only about bones. But new science reveals a much deeper truth. Your muscles are covered in vitamin D receptors, and when these aren't activated, your body simply doesn't build or maintain muscle the way it should. The epidemic no one talks about. Over 80% of older adults are low in vitamin D, and most don't know it. Because as you age, your skin loses its ability to produce vitamin D from sunlight. At 65, your skin generates 50% less than it did at 25. Add in limited time outdoors, sunscreen, and long winters, and your levels quietly fall into dangerous territory. The average senior has less than 20 nanograms per milliliter, which doctors now consider severely deficient. Super-Agers, they aim for 40 ml or more, and it shows. What vitamin D does for your muscles. Research from Harvard University shows that vitamin D activates genes that trigger muscle protein synthesis, enhances balance and reflexes, helps reduce falls and fractures. In fact, a study published in JAMA Internal Medicine found that seniors with healthy vitamin D levels had 25% more strength, better coordination, and less fatigue. And here's the shocker, they didn't change their exercise routine. They simply restored a missing nutrient. How to get enough? Sunlight helps, but it's not enough after 60. That's why Super-Agers turned to supplementation. Most experts agree 600 IU per day is too low. For real muscle benefits, seniors often need 2,000 to 4,000 IU daily. Of course, always test first and work with your doctor. Also, never forget vitamin K2. Vitamin D increases calcium absorption, but without K2, that calcium can land in your arteries instead of your bones. K2 helps direct calcium where it belongs. You'll find K2 in fermented foods like natto pickled vegetables and hard cheeses. A cautionary tale. Frank's wake-up call. Frank, 77, was active but kept falling. His legs felt weak, especially in the mornings. When tested, his vitamin D was 13 mg. He started supplementing, adjusted his meals, and within 8 weeks he felt steadier. But what changed most? He didn't just walk better, he trusted his legs again, and that made him walk farther, stand taller, live freer. But even with the best nutrients, something else can silently work against you. A fire inside your body, one you can't see but can feel in every tired step. It doesn't come with a fever or swelling or pain that you can point to, but it's there, smoldering quietly in your muscles, joints, and bloodstream. It's called chronic inflammation, or what scientists now call inflammaging. And it's one of the biggest drivers of muscle loss in seniors. How inflammation silently destroys muscle. Every time you eat, move, or sleep, your body is trying to build and maintain muscle. But if inflammation is high, those efforts are blocked. Instead of building your muscle, start to break down faster. Anabolic signals, your body's natural grow messages, get lost in the noise. And no matter how much you eat or walk, you keep feeling weaker. A study from Tufts University found that seniors with the highest inflammation lost muscle 3x faster than those with low inflammation, even when they had similar diets and activity levels. What Super-Agers do differently. They don't just avoid inflammation, they fight it daily. And they do it in 4 key ways. 1. Prioritize deep, uninterrupted sleep. Poor sleep increases inflammatory markers by up to 40%. Super-Agers sleep 7 to 8 hours in a cool, dark, quiet room. No screens before bed. No caffeine after lunch. Rest isn't optional. It's muscle medicine. 2. Heal the gut. Heal the body. Your gut bacteria control your immune response. And with age, this balance gets disrupted. Super-Agers eat 30-plus plant-based foods per week. Fruits, vegetables, herbs, whole grains. They also eat fermented foods like yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, and miso. Because a healthy gut means less inflammation, and that means stronger muscles. 3. Exercise smart, not just hard. Too much high-intensity exercise can backfire. It spikes inflammation. Instead, Super-Agers follow moderate routines most days of the week, walking resistance training, gentle mobility work, and add high-intensity training once or twice per week, only when recovered. This balance allows the body to adapt without tipping into chronic stress. 4. Use anti-inflammatory allies. They nourish their muscles from the inside out, using omega-3s, 2-3 a day from fish oil or fatty fish like salmon. Turmeric's curcumin natural anti-inflammatory compounds. Polyphenols from berries, green tea, and extra virgin olive oil. In one clinical trial, this exact combination reduced inflammation markers by 29% in 12 weeks. Tracking the invisible. Super-Agers test their inflammation levels regularly using HSCRP tests. Their goal: stay under 1.0 mmol, far below the average senior. Because in this case, lower really is better. Real-life Grace's journey back. Grace 9 was eating well but felt tired, stiff, and heavy. Her HSCRP was 4.5. After 10 weeks of gut-healing foods, sleep hygiene, and turmeric, her levels dropped to 1.2. And her body responded. She said, "It feels like I lost weight, but it wasn't fat. It was inflammation." And she was right. But even with sleep food and supplements, there's a deeper layer. The invisible nutrients that power every contraction, lift, and movement. Micronutrients that, when missing, pull the plug on your muscle-building potential. We often think about food in terms of big pieces, protein, carbs, fats. But the truth is, your muscles rely on something much smaller. Micronutrients, vitamins and minerals that operate behind the scenes, quietly powering every heartbeat, every step, every lift of a grocery bag, or push from a chair. Without them, even if you eat enough protein and exercise daily, your muscles might still shrink. They might tire faster and recover slower. Because these little nutrients don't just support strength, they activate it. Super-Agers know micronutrients aren't optional. They understand that strength isn't just about effort. It's about biological readiness. Let's look at the most critical ones and how they protect your strength after 60. 1. Magnesium, the forgotten muscle ally. Magnesium supports over 300 enzyme reactions, including those involved in muscle contraction and energy production. Yet more than 70% of seniors are deficient. Without enough magnesium, you may feel leg cramps, weak grip, fatigue after simple tasks. In a 2021 study, older adults with optimal magnesium levels had 30% stronger grip strength, better walking speed, improved overall muscle function. Super-Agers eat leafy greens, pumpkin seeds, almonds, and many supplement with magnesium glycinate or threonate for better absorption. 2. Creatine, not just for bodybuilders. You've heard of it from gym commercials. But creatine isn't just for young athletes. Research from McMaster University shows that seniors who take 3 to 5 grams of creatine daily experience increased muscle mass, greater energy output, better cognitive function. It helps draw water into muscle cells, creating the ideal environment for muscle growth. And it protects strength even without changing your workout routine. 3. Vitamin B12, the energy igniter. B12 is critical for nerve health and muscle coordination, but absorption decreases with age, especially if you take medications like metformin for diabetes, acid reducers for heartburn. Super-Agers use methylated B12 methylcobalamin, a more active, easily absorbed form, instead of the cheaper, less effective cyanocobalamin found in many generic multivitamins. Signs of deficiency: tingling feet, muscle weakness, or unexplained fatigue. 4. Trace minerals, the unsung heroes. You don't need much, but you absolutely need them. Zinc aids in protein synthesis. Selenium supports antioxidant defenses in muscle tissue. Chromium helps regulate blood sugar and insulin, key for muscle recovery. A Tufts University study found that seniors with adequate trace minerals maintained 22% more muscle mass over 5 years than those who were deficient. Testing and precision. Super-Agers often test their micronutrient levels once or twice per year, because guessing isn't good enough. They tailor their supplement routine based on actual biological needs, saving money, and more importantly, building strength efficiently. True story, Dan's turning point. Dan, 75, ate well and walked daily. but his legs still felt like they ran out of gas halfway through the afternoon. A simple micronutrient test revealed low magnesium and borderline B12. After adjusting, he didn't just feel stronger, he stopped needing afternoon naps. He said, "I didn't realize how drained my body was until I finally gave it what it was missing." But his strength doesn't just fade from the muscles. Sometimes it fades from the signal that tells your muscles what to do. And unless you protect this signal, you may lose power even if you're doing everything else right. Strength doesn't just live in your muscles. It begins in your brain and travels down a long, silent highway of nerves before it ever reaches your arms, your legs, your grip. That connection is called the neuromuscular junction. It's like the plug between your brain and your muscles. But as we age, that plug frays, signals weaken, and eventually, muscles stop responding. This is why some older adults eat well, exercise, and still lose strength. Not because they didn't try, but because the message never arrived. Habit number 6. Strengthen the brain-muscle connection. Super-Agers protect their neuromuscular connections like treasure, because they are. They don't just move. They move with intention, with precision, and with play. 1. Coordination-based movement. Activities like Tai Chi, dancing, table tennis, light ball tossing, playing a musical instrument. These sharpen timing, balance, and neural response. A study in the Journal of Physiology found that seniors doing these twice a week preserved neuromuscular function 31% better than those doing standard workouts. Because these movements require communication between your brain and muscles, keeping the wiring strong. 2. Breathing that activates your body. Super-Agers also practice box breathing. Inhale for 4 seconds. Hold for 4. Exhale for 4. Hold for 4. Repeat. This stimulates the vagus nerve, which helps coordinate many of your body's signals, including those that activate muscle fibers. Just 5 minutes a day can increase nerve muscle activation by up to 15%. 3. Neurological nutrients. Some take natural compounds like alpha-lipoic acid, acetyl L-carnitine, Ben-phthalate, vitamin B1. Huperzine A. Boosts acetylcholine, your muscles' neurotransmitter. These don't make you stronger overnight, but they protect the pathway that leads to strength. And without that path, even the best training may fail. Final habit. Progressive resistance training. This is the most important habit of all. The one that separates Super-Agers from the rest. They lift, push, and pull things that challenge them. Not to build muscle like a bodybuilder, but to keep the muscle they already have. Habit number 7. Use it or lose it. Your body listens to what you ask of it. If you challenge it, it adapts. If you don't, it lets go. Super-Agers follow 3 key principles. 1. Focus on intensity, not time. You don't need to exercise for hours. 2 30-minute sessions per week of high-effort strength training can outperform 5 days of light walking. What matters is reaching momentary muscle fatigue when you can't do one more rep with perfect form. That's the moment growth begins. 2. Prioritize compound movements. These include squats or sit to stand, rows, push-ups or wall push-ups, deadlifts or band pulls. They recruit multiple muscle groups at once, boosting hormone response and coordination. 3. Apply progressive overload. This doesn't mean lifting heavy weights tomorrow. It means lifting slightly more next week than you did this week. More reps, more control, more range of motion. Even just one more rep can trigger growth. 4. Emphasize the lowering phase. The eccentric phase, lowering the weight, slowly builds more strength with less joint stress. It's safer and incredibly effective. In a study from the University of Alabama, seniors over 70 gained 3.3 pounds of muscle and increased strength by 35% in just 12 weeks of progressive training. A final story: James and the stairs. James, 82, had stopped using the stairs. His daughter moved the bedroom downstairs. He felt defeated. But his therapist introduced chair squats, resistance bands, and weekly walks with gentle hills. After 3 months, he surprised everyone. Not with a marathon, but with a whisper. "I used the upstairs bathroom today." A small victory. But for James, it meant freedom. Your turn to choose. Now you've seen the 7 daily habits, the exact ones used by some of the strongest seniors alive today. You don't have to start all at once. Pick one. Maybe it's protein at breakfast, or a 10-second wall press, or even turning off your phone before bed. Let that one habit become your signal to your muscles, to your body, to your future. A signal that says, "I still want to move. I still want to live strong." If you saw yourself in any part of this video, if you felt that quiet slipping of strength, you're not alone. And you don't have to keep shrinking. Share this with someone you care about. Because the road to strength is easier when we walk it together. And if you're ready to grow stronger with each sunrise, subscribe to Senior Fit. Because aging isn't the end. It's the beginning of your most powerful, most independent, most meaningful years.